We'll start with the no karma mantra. Om Namo Arihantanam. Om Namo Siddhanam. Om Namo Ayariyanam. Om Namo Vajayanam. Namo Loe Savasahunam. Eso Panchanamo Karo. Sarva Pava Panasano. Mangalanam cha sarvaisim. Paramam havai mangalam. Paramam havai mangalam. Thank you for coming this week. It's going to be a shorter class today because we have the language showcase coming up at 11:15, so we'll get you out here by then. So if you remember from last week, we talked about the 8 types of karma. And just a brief recap, there are 2 subtypes, Gati karma and Agati karma. And last week we talked about Mohaniya karma, Nanavarniya karma, Darshavarniya karma, Antaraya karma, and Vedniya karma. Which means this week we're going to talk about Nam karma, Gotra karma, and Ayusha karma. This is chapter 17, we're in the Bandh chapter. So this is the big one, Nam karma. Nam karma is your your body and physique determining karma. That is, all of your physical characteristics are determined by this karma. There are 2 main divisions, auspicious physique karma and inauspicious physique karma. Auspicious physique karma means you're feeling happy and satisfied with your body. Inauspicious karma means you have unhappiness and dissatisfaction with your body. And that is the result of various things that you do and various things you did in your previous life. So there are numerous subtypes of non-karma because, as you know, there are numerous types of body. The first subtype are the 4 Gati karmas. That is, which type of body you have. Whether you're a heavenly being, hellish being, animal being, or human being. So all of us have Manusya Gati karma, not Gati Nam karma, because we're all human right now. And so the next class is, of course, how many senses you have. So, of course, Jainism divides us according to how many senses. And there are 5 types, of course: 1 sense, 2 sense, 3 sense, 4 sense, and 5 sense. The next type of karma is very interesting. It determines your gross physical body, that is, the major characteristics of your body. Vaikra Sharia Nam karma, it gives you your transformation body. These are heavenly and hellish beings have this type of body. The next one is a translocation body. This is a body that you can, if you're an ascetic who's very far along the path, you can create this body and then send it up to confer with a soul who's in Siddhasila about some particular aspect of Jainism that's very thorny for you, and he will tell you about it, and you come down and you answer people. So this is called the projection body or translocation body. The next one is a fiery body. This provides energy for internal body functions and your swallowed food, and it's responsible for your heat. And the next one is the Karman body, which is the receptacle for Karman matter. So next we have the chief and secondary parts of the body. There are 3 types. 3 types are for the physical body, the transformation body, and the translocation body, which we discussed. The next are the bindings of the physical body, that is how the Pudgal binds to your body, and one for each of these types that we discussed. That's why there's so many types. The next are, 5 integration Nam karma, flocking together of the Pudgals for the various types of bodies, that is physical body, transformation body, translocation body, fiery body, and Karman body. So here's where it gets interesting when we talk about firmness of the joints. So the next one determines how well your joints work together. That is your physical joints. And it's the book lists them from best to worst. An excellent joining where the bones are hooked to one another. Not as firm, still weaker.
let's see, the other one is described as simply pressed together and nailed, a weak joint, and then a very weak joint. So if you have good bones, then you have a good, what's called samgyana karma. The next one is how symmetrical your body is. Symmetry is considered good. So if your entire body is symmetrical, the upper part of your body only, the lower part only. If you're hunchbacked, or if your torso is symmetrical, and then the next one makes your entire body unsymmetrical. So the next one are the colors of your body, the physical colors of your body. Believe it or not, it's not just white through brown through whatever. It is black if you have a black body, a dark or blue-green body, a red body, a yellow body, or a white body. We have brown bodies, so this is a mix of some of these colors, gets us our type of body. The next one is how you smell, if you smell pleasant or unpleasant. The next one are your tastes. If you're able to taste a bitter taste, a pungent taste, and a stringent taste, a sour taste, or a sweet taste. The next one is, hey, how you doing? Come on in. We're talking about the body today and why your body is the way it is. This is Nam Karma. So the next one determines whether your body is heavy, light, smooth, rough, cold, warm, adhesive, or dry. So if you have oily skin, then you know you have a particular type of karma. Okay, so the next one is when you die, where does your soul go? That determines this next one, whether you go to heaven, hell, an animal being, or a human being. The next one is fun, it's how you walk. If you move in a pleasant manner, you have good Vyaho Gati karma. If you move in an unpleasant manner, you have bad Vyaho Gati karma. The next one gives you certain physical characteristics. Whether you're capable of breathing, we're all capable of breathing, so we have this Uchyavasa Nam karma. Being able to emit a warm splendor throughout the body, emit a cold luster. How you feel, how heavy or light. This next one, Tirthankar Nam karma. If you have this one, you're going to be born a Tirthankar. The next one, if the parts of your body are in the right place, and also if you have, if your parts of your body are omitted. The next one has to do with kind of more physical characteristics. The Strasha Dashak Prakrit, a voluntary movable body, a gross physical body. Senses, breathing, and speech and thought, that's all due to karma. Being able to possess an individual body, that's of course opposed to one of these bodies, souls that are in a body with multiple souls inside it at the same time. Teeth and bones, causing the body above your navel to be beautiful, below your navel to be beautiful. A melodious voice, I like that one. I do not have that one, so I do not have this Susvara Nam Karma. I must have a bad one. This next one is Stavardashik Prakrit. It's about movement. Whether you're a plant or animal that cannot move voluntarily, whether how developed you are, whether you have a body in common with other species.
How do you get the one that you have multiple souls in a body? Or how do you do that?
So that's this one. Sadhara Nan Karma. A body in common with others of their species. Oh no, that's not
the
that
one
one.
you had said earlier. Just
This is the individual.
Oh yeah.
Pratyeka?
Yes, Pratyeka Nam Karma.
Yeah, how's that?
So if you have this, then you possess an individual physical body. But if you don't, then your soul is in a body with other souls in it as well. The same physical body.
How is that possible, or how?
Yes.
Example?
That is possible. So a lot of our the reasons we don't eat onion and garlic and root vegetables is because multiple souls are in that physical body.
In the onion, there's multiple souls.
Right. And a lot of times in Nigot, which you will remember, hey, no problem, come on in. In Nigot, what you remember is where in the universe it's at the lowest point where your soul is kind of almost barely able to perceive things because it's so obstructed by karma. It's not even in this cycle of life and death because it's too bad. In Nigok, there are many souls in the same body. It's interesting, isn't it?
If I can get a grasp of that.
So we're talking about Nam Karma today. So we have 93 subtypes of body determining karma. As we talked about, auspicious and inauspicious. Okay, here we go. How do we get to it? How do you get good Nam Karma? You be kind to people, be gentle and helpful, maintain good conduct, lead a simple life, be loving, generous, and patient. You follow strictly the discipline and rules of religion. You're charitable, you're merciful, you perform religious activities. How do you get bad Nam Karma? You make fun of people who are ugly or short, or you show off your build. You're proud of your own physical beauty, power, caste, intelligence, knowledge, and wealth. And how do you become a hellish being? You're violent and you kill others. Okay, so that's why nonviolence is one of the principal concepts of our religion, is because if you are particularly violent, then you'll be reborn as a hellish being. Okay, so that's Nam Karma. Lots of subtypes that we went through. I know previously Nick had a question. Does anybody remember Nick's question? He was wondering how it worked that your karma was responsible for your body, I think.
Yeah.
Right? How could it be that your karma affects your body? And it's a very direct connection. That is, if you have a particular type of karma, you have a particular type of body.
Also, I think he was going into details around Atma and because you're doing for your soul, and how does body intervene in doing whatever you're doing, and karma being whether it is attaching to your body or to the soul itself.
Right, so karma always attaches to the soul, and that is expressed, the different kind of Nam Karma you have determines how that karma is expressed as different characteristics of your body. Any other questions or comments on Nam Karma? That is body determining karma.
One thing we started this topic last week. It seems there's so many of them. There's just 93 subtypes of body determining karma.
Right.
One appreciation I have is how deep the science was back when the scriptures were written. I mean, they had all these down somehow and documented that's being transferred. So that's one positive thing. And second is, I guess I'm still waiting to figure out how we can incorporate all this information into our lives. I mean, I'm still, I guess, trying to understand this. It's not very intuitive, to be honest.
Right.
Because, like you said, melodious voice and things like that. I mean, even the body, whether you have a symmetric body or non-symmetric body, that's based on the karma. So okay, what we have today is based on our past karmas.
That's right.
So what we do now is gonna produce our future results.
Exactly.
Our karmas now is gonna produce future. So, for example, just if I say melodious voice, does it even tell me what kind of things I need to do?
Yes.
To get to positive karma in that direction. So maybe in the next life I'll have melodious voice or something like that. I mean.
Yes, absolutely. So that is we kind of rushed through it as to what to do is how you acquire auspicious Nam Karma. And that's when we talked about being kind to all people, gentle and helpful, maintaining good conduct.
Okay.
I can't answer you if you specifically want a melodious voice, what to do, other than these general things to acquire generally good Nam Karma. I cannot, it will take somebody above my pay grade to tell you, well, you need to do these specific things to get this specific result.
Even general things help. I mean, I think this is where I think the next question, once we know about this, then okay, what do we do to practice, I guess, positive things that are in this positive karmas were, I guess, when I was just looking at this chart, like destructive karma rather than destructive karma and non-destructive karma. So I guess we want to go towards non-destructive.
No, these are just the types. These are Gati and Agati. That's what we've been talking about. The Gati are the first four, and Agati are the second four, and we're talking about Nam Karma, which is Agati.
Okay.
You try lemon juice in the morning every day.
Okay. Okay.
This one paragraph is.
See, this is the
critical.
where it comes into play.
Yeah.
What did
So-
he say?
Try lemon juice in the morning.
Oh, okay.
See if that works for a
Now I was going to say that this last paragraph, actually these two paragraphs, right? So you focus on those, the rest thing will come along.
Okay. While is it the conclusion?
Auspicious, right before the Gotra Karma.
Fine.
Oh, okay. I see here.
Those two paragraphs, you see that for the inauspicious karma and auspicious karma is acquired by so and so. So
Okay.
Okay, so the next one's easy. Gotra karma, status determining karma, determines whether you will be born in a high or low status family. Now, high status doesn't mean wealthy, okay?
right.
That's what that's what I want to tell you right now, okay? High status means restrained and respected family. And some people believe that high status means that you're able to spiritually develop more. Because as we know, your family determines a lot about you when you're growing up. And if you have a family that is encouraging of your spiritual development, some people consider that's a high status family. You could be very poor and still be born into a high status family. So what is a respectful status? Respectful status means a good family, good community, good learning, good power, good profit, good penance, good looks, and good luxury. Okay? So how do you get this high status, Gotra karma? You do the opposite of these things. You're non-exhibitious and non-exaltation in one's qualities, knowledge, wealth, and other attainments, and you don't admire such attributes of others. Now, what's low status karma? Okay, it's the opposite. Not a respectable family. You exhibit exaltation in your knowledge, wealth, and you deprecate such qualities in others. Low status karma causes us to be low and not respected in society. How do you get low status karma? You disrespect people, you're egoistic, you're proud, you're indulged in self-aggrandizement, you make fun of others. That's how you get low status karma. How do you get high status karma? You're respectful toward those who have status and toward those who do not have status. Both. So we just talked about nam karma, which is the how your body is determined, and now we just talked about gotra karma. Questions on gotra karma?
It says high status involves luxury, right?
Right.
But when we started, you mentioned it doesn't mean it needs to be a rich family. So how does luxury and are they not contradicting to each other?
No, you could have a lot of time, and you could be very wealthy in time, but not very wealthy in money. And if you have a lot of time for your spiritual development, well, that's a very luxurious thing to do.
Okay.
Now, why based on religion, we're talking about Ucha Gotra and Nicha Gotra.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's, India is very well known for caste and divisions and things like that. So why, here I see in one way, it helps you that, you do good things, good karma, so you get it. It doesn't matter whether it's money or luxury that makes you Ucha Gotra, which is good. But it seems like, isn't this a divide when you talk about, or is it just to explain you that you need to do a good karma that takes you to Ucha Gotra and not a niche Gotra?
Can you rephrase the question?
Yeah.
I didn't understand it.
Yeah. I'm still trying to frame my question too, so it's not a clear question by any means. I was wondering, by mentioning this, does it create a divide within a society?
So it doesn't matter, because this is the truth. Okay? So it doesn't matter whether it's good or bad.
Yeah.
This is the truth. This is what is. Whether it's good or bad is more a function of your mind.
interpretation.
Right.
No, and adding to, it actually helps, because if you see, we have the Harijans and all of that. So with this, you can actually be in a high status as well, even being a Harijan. So the current structure of having various castes based on what you do. I mean, earlier we had 4, right? Kshatriya and all that. So that was based on profession. But if we strictly follow what is there in this book, it tells that high gotra or high status or uch gotra is nothing but coming from how you are performing all these religious things. So it doesn't stop a person to be in that, even though you can be you can be poor. That is what I wanted to clarify earlier. So luxury, again, from a time perspective, if you have it, yeah, you are still considered in the Uch Gotra rather than being in the.
Okay. And I think the caste and all of that is man-made, right? Is human created. So this is, we consider that for the soul piece. And like, I think if you Gautam Swami, I believe, so he was a Brahmin, and he heard the Jinwani and the Mahavir Swamis, and so whole thing happens based on no matter where you're born, this is your soul would be either in a high status or low status. So casting and all, I think, is created by us as a human being, right? As a divided like that. Yeah.
So it could be changed, right?
It could be changed. It could be, yeah, you could hear that, and people, I think what is the name, the 24th Tirthankar of Mahavir Swami, right? So he used to be the lion, right? So, right, and 10 bows after that he became Tirthankar. So it could be it could be in any status you could be born in, but it can be changed by following certain virtues.
So next we have Ayusha Karma, which is lifespan determining karma. The thing to know here is that it's not a quantum of time. That is, your Ayusha Karma does not determine you will live for 80 years. It's a quantum of life. Now what does that mean? What's the difference? Well, a quantum of life is like a sponge absorbing water, okay? The quantity of water may be determined, but the time may vary. So when you kind of squeeze the sponge, there's a certain amount of quantity in there, but depending on how hard you squeeze, the time for when all the water disappears from the sponge is different. Okay, so that means you can commit suicide, and in your last breaths, you will expel all your Ayusha Karma very, very rapidly. Okay, and that means, let's see. So when is it decided? At the 2/3 point of this life, your Ayusha Karma for your next life will be decided. So there are 2 types of Ayusha Karma. The first one may be shortened due to accidents, and the second is never going to be shortened. You'll always run the full length. 4 subtypes, and that's the 4 depending on what kind of being you are: hellish, plant or animal, human, or heavenly being. Let's see. This is a good way to think about it. Your Ayusha Karma determines the duration of your stay in a particular existence, but your Nam Karma determines the type of that existence. All right? So how do you get bad Ayusha Karma? You engage in violent activities and you take the life of others, and we talked about that results in a hellish being. How do you get good Ayusha Karma? You live an honest and righteous life, you have no passions, and you render selfless service to others. You show compassion towards everybody. That way you get good Ayusha Karma. Questions on Ayusha Karma? You look confused.
No, I'm just thinking. There's probably nothing relevant to this. So if somebody serves in the military,
Right.
but they're not fighting in the war, shooting and stuff, but they're sort of like doctors and nurses, but they're helping the people that are fighting the war.
Right.
What does that make them?
They acquire less karma than the people killing other people, because it's an indirect.
Is that a good deed?
Is it a good deed?
It's like me eating at a non-veg restaurant, but I'm still supporting their overall needs, right?
So, like most things, it's good and bad, and the amount of your intensity of your feeling and the directness or indirectness of your actions determine whether it's mainly good or mainly bad. So when you tell me, is that a good thing, you're trying to put it in a box, good or bad. I'm telling you it's both, and that the levels differ like this. I mean, it's certainly, because here's how it works, right? It's certainly worse than you not being an army doctor and you being a civilian doctor, and the only thing you do is you help people and you're not perpetuating a war. But it's certainly better than you having a gun in your hand and killing other people. Right?
I mean, protesting and not doing anything about it.
Right. Right. So it's just a matter of levels.
Well, civilian doctor also gets, gang war and all this other drug war stuff coming in, right? And they also support that, right? I mean, they're doing their job, right?
Supporting them go to jail.
I don't know. I mean, you're talking about war. I'm saying that there's a war outside too. That may not be a defined war, but you're going to take it to that extent, then
And that's why it's so hard to be a human, even harder to be an animal or heavenly or hellish being, because they can't make those choices. They can't make choices to not participate in certain things. They can't, and pretty soon, if you kind of walk that path to the logical conclusion, and if you keep on thinking about it, you'll come to realize the only thing you can do is take Diksha. That's inexorably where your life is headed. It's just a matter of whether all of us have realized that or not. Yeah.
I think this paragraph is very interesting about when it determines, right, for your Ayusha Karma.
The first
It says,
2/3.
yes, it's the 2/3 of your lifetime, right? So if somebody argues, like, okay, I don't know whether that happened or not, right? So say if it doesn't happen, then from the remaining time, what you have, the 2/3 of that time is going to be determined, right? So whatever is time left from now onwards, let's say your life was 90 years, so 2/3 is going to be 60, right? For any reason, if that is not been determined, so from 60 to 90, 2/3 of that is going to be that.
70.
Yeah. So
Oh
it's,
no,
it's,
80. Sorry, 80.
so he's going to
At
keep
80.
doing that
20,
if it is not taken decision.
And
So
then at 86.
right. So it's and even last 2/3 seconds of your life, it could be happening.
Yeah,
so
so you would never know that, right?
you would never know that. So that's why you should always keep up with the good karma. That's the point on this one, I think.
So after that, we have a nice chart here about what to do specifically and what causes what type of karma. I won't go over it because we've kind of recapped everything a lot. We have several nice charts about this. Next one is about Gati karma. And this next one is just about, this next chart is just about Moniya karma because it's so important as we talked about. Nick, you had a question last week about how karma is expressed as a body.
Mhm.
Did we answer that?
Yeah, we answered that last
Okay.
week, right?
Okay. So, questions or comments about anything, even about what we talked about last week, or how we can think about it, or how we can put it all together. 8 types of karma, 4 Gati and 4 Agati karma.
One comment you mentioned about Diksha at the end, and when I was thinking about the Ucha Gotra and Nicha Gotra,
Yeah.
one thing came to my mind when my uncle and his family took the Diksha. Right before it, he was the president of the Ahmedabad, wherever he lived, of Jain society. He was a good businessman, and when you leave all that, you feel like, at least in my mind, before I went to that, I felt like he's giving up all these.
Right.
And in our mind, we think about all this as a respect, all that as I guess somehow status or whatever we call it.
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly, I noticed that
Hey, come on in.
when I witnessed that, I felt like I was so wrong. His
Right.
Gotra, if I talk in terms of that, was so much raised just by this action that he has done, and I didn't even imagine how many people, those people who the people even talked about how people fight to get these positions in to be the president of the community. He's from Kalupur region. They said people do the kavadawas, to get to that post, and how happy he was to leave that, and it just, you know, when you do things like this, your status or gotra, it just goes up, and that we don't as a normally think.
You know what's funny is that if you're in the audience and you see somebody like that, you feel sorry for them, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you're giving up
That's
this
right.
and you're giving up that. But when you're there, it's like they feel sorry for you correctly. And that's the correct way to think about it. Is that we're stuck here living our life and worrying about all of our things, and we would be lucky to be able to do that.
Exact way
Mhm.
the feeling was, yeah.
Right. So questions or comments about any of the type of karma, if anybody had any questions, even going back to last week, I know we were kind of short on time last week, so we can even go back and talk about any of the ones we missed. So did anybody think about what they could do practically? Some easy kind of thing you could do to get going in the right direction now that we know about karma? What changes you can make to your life? And even perhaps something you didn't know. Like, maybe you didn't know, like, oh, if I disrespect books, then I get this particular type of karma, so maybe I should stop leaving them on the floor of my house, you know? Like, he says something, you know, just simple as that you might not know, but now you know.
Actually, it was a good reminder. We use, so everyone's before, right? We don't kick books, and we knew that, but then I guess we get lost in time living and stuff, and
Right.
we forget.
Yeah.
And so when you see certain papers or whatnot, how you treat them and throw them out. We have tossed the book. Kids have books all over. So
Yeah.
next time I'll remember not to toss it. And this literally last week after you said it, right?
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah, I think I've been tossing books around in the house for a while now.
Yeah, and because we want our kids to be educated, right? So we have lots and lots of books in our house. And because we have that, they don't like really appreciate them that much because they're like literally in every room of our house there's a book, right? And so they don't really appreciate them that much, and it seems kind of arbitrary to them, like, why am I respecting a piece of paper or whatever? It's not alive or anything like that.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So, you know, we talk about books and papers and things like that, right? And then, how does it work when you destroy it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what kind of karma do you get? Like, I don't know. Like, I get a bunch of mail, right? And I get a bunch of junk mail too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I either shred it or I throw it in the garbage. And how does that work? What karma do I get for that?
Yeah, you know, I'm not sure. I certainly know that it's not as bad as if it was a spiritual book or a knowledge book or something like that. But, like, there's a proper way to destroy things. Like, what is the proper way to destroy printed materials? I don't know. Does anybody have any thoughts on that? I'm sorry that I don't have an answer to your question.
I could come up with these good ones.
Recycle or shred
You're
it.
giving it to somebody else, huh?
Yeah.
Well, now you just go drop it off. I mean, I can't go to the library and drop off my mail and be like, here, you know, good luck to you, you know. That doesn't work out, you know. I don't want, I mean, I shred it and then I recycle the shit, right. But then I got to do that extra work to shred and do all of that sometimes.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, one thing is to do it practically, and the other part is like, hey, what karma do you get for it? Let me ask you another thing, right? So, I'll take it a step forward. Like, a lot of times, many people they give you like Jain calendars. Jaina gives a Jain calendar,
Right.
right? So, what's the proper disposal method of that? I mean, is there? I don't. I mean, I'm getting karma by saying it. I don't know. You know, you know, like, what's the right solution for that? You send it back to Jaina and be like, here.
I think after its usage, meaning if the calendar year is over, you put it in, you recycle it. I mean, put it in the trash, and then there's no other. I don't think you can send it back to Jaina for sure. They'll get bunch of.
Yeah, what happened is especially like just the religious books, people started dropping out at Derasar. Like, you know, they said don't.
Yeah.
It's on my plate.
So
It's on
everybody
my plate,
puts into Derasar, and Derasar like, what are we going to do with this?
Yeah, they put it right here.
Yeah.
Right
So
here.
that becomes up to a certain point that becomes bookshelf, but then it's like it's really nobody wants to. It's such a bad condition, and it becomes that. Now I do know one thing. Like, for example, I think recycling is the best you could do. whether you without trading or with trading or without trading. And if you have got the most out of that book, first of all, I mean, whether it's calendar or something, I mean, if you get every year and if you don't use it, then I would think you have a lot more karmas. Versus if you use it and then recycle it, then it's going to be less. Now, if you're getting this and if you can prevent it,
you're destroying the non, right? We're talking about non-karma, right?
Yeah.
So, right, that you're destroying it, right? You're not prolonging it, right?
Yeah.
So, what's the what's the negative karma from that? You know, how does that? Is there effect? I mean, this is like something practical, right? I get the calendar at home, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've noticed, but they've changed the calendar significantly from not putting like any idols there, but they put the outside of a temple now. Mm-hmm. You know, intentionally to kind of, I think people probably, toss it or whatever else, right? So I'm not really sure how that works out like that.
Right. So this is not an answer to your question, but this is what the book has to say. I found that page in the book. Showing disrespect for knowledge and knowledge-related things, examples, tearing off the pages, burning papers, and throwing books around, etc. That's not what you said, but maybe it's covered in the etc. Here's the other part. Respecting books and scriptures and studying religious books regularly with humility. So that's what the book has to say about it, but that doesn't answer your question.
I'm just like, these are like small things, right? And then the other day I was watching another video, right? Like, and they were talking about, people doing, they were talking about Diwali and Lakshmi Pujan and all this other stuff. And then they started talking about different idols and all the idols that are collected after the puja are done. And they were just destroying the idol to recycle the idol, right? Like, what are we doing? I mean, because, it's crazy, So how does that?
So you consider the Ganesh Chaturthi
Yeah,
in a different
that's
way,
the exact
right?
same.
So the way it is being considered, so I asked that question to my cousin.
I have
right?
I see a truckload and I see
Yeah.
them throwing them.
Right. So what they say is when you have Ganesh Sthapna. So first is a Sthapna. Before that is just the made out of clay piece. It's not a. There's nothing in it. You put it. You worship it. You bring that Ganeshji to your place. Stays with you for whatever the amount, days, number of hours. And after that, you do a puja, and that is your Visarjan, meaning that is the time it stayed with us. And after that, it becomes still go back to the same as a clay material. And then you can Visarjan. The right way, Visarjan. That's the process for Ganesh Chaturthi, right? So I don't know about that, of how it applies to us, but I don't know, do we buy anything for the puja though? Do we buy like for Lakshmi Pujan and all? Do we buy things and then let it go?
I mean, not for Lakshmi Pujan probably.
Right.
But I'm just saying, like,
In
this
general.
was during the whole. I'm reading all these things,
Sure,
and
sure.
someone sends me a WhatsApp video of like literally like a truck,
Right.
and all these idols, and they're just throwing,
Yeah.
and they're recycling the idol out, right?
Right.
And so it's like, how
Right.
does that work?
Where do you let it sail in the water? Mail or calendar?
that was the other thing.
Clean Water Act,
It was being done too.
1647.
It's
So that's what we
actually
do with
being
the
done.
right? When it
Yeah,
rains,
that's
rains
what-
are supposed to go.
Right.
It can be a bayou or any stream of water that goes to main water. You could
That's being done.
Toss it.
just don't let nobody see.
Yeah, no.
Oh no, that's not a problem in India. In Bandra, so if you go from in train in Bandra, there's a Bandra Nikhari. It smells. When it's there, right? Even if you're sleeping, you'll find out. Oh, it's now we're in Bandra, and then people are throwing away things into it, whether it's Raksha Potli or book or something. I mean, yes, people are doing it. It's just somebody has said that okay.
You do this,
That's like you ever go to the mall here and look at a fountain? There are a whole bunch of pennies there.
Everywhere there's water, kids are asking for pennies. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that
So
was
what karma do you get from that? You're
Yeah.
throwing money around. What's
Throwing coins.
what's wrong with
I
that?
don't think it's a good karma.
Huh?
We used to get
One of the 93 karmas here. I don't know which one it is.
we used to get the two things from India. One was Jain Panchang,
Uh-huh.
And then there was a giant Indian dates.
Yeah.
That each day you tear.
Yeah, you
that.
know, they're white, the
Yes,
little.
yes,
little-
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we stopped. I stopped there a long time ago because that's I could not I could not let it go anyway right way. So we stopped that.
That's because you never
And-
turned it every day. You had
No,
to
I
take
did.
10
I
off.
did.
and 10 off.
I was very religious.
See, everyone
on
understands
that.
exactly what I'm
No,
saying.
No, we do that every day. And for the Raksha Purli for last 18 years, we never destroyed a single one. Anything it cuts off, we just put it in a Ziploc. So I have used Ziploc, so I don't know what I'm going to do.
Bring it and
I
pass it
can't.
out here.
I
You know,
can't. No,
Bring it
it's,
in
a,
there.
it's a huge one. I'm probably making nice art piece or something on it. But it's very nice, colorful piece. But I don't know how to.
I'm just saying
let it go.
there's a lot of stuff that we do that we really don't think about.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I agree. Yeah.
I mean, I would challenge you guys that between now and let's say January 15th, like a month, every single cardboard box that you get at your home
Yeah.
that you're about to throw in the garbage, fold it and stack it in your garage and just see how much you collect.
That's true.
I mean, the amount of Amazon boxes and cereal boxes and, you know, product boxes and, I mean, gift boxes, and there's so much. It's unreal. It's unreal, you know. I mean, you don't realize it until you stop throwing it away and just stack and see how much you're really collecting, you know.
So what do people when they do Diksha and all that? They have books, right? They just have.
They have Kindle.
You can't use electricity, right?
Well, it's charged,
They don't-
so it's alright. You're not using electricity.
Oh, yeah, one day battery.
Solar.
Oh, you got me on that one, okay? No.
Certainly, sadhus and sadhvis do read books and do read
Absolutely.
scriptures.
But
yes.
then they keep the books until.
Well, I think we should ask them and emulate whatever they do with their books. I do not know what they do with their books.
Because I'm sure they're down reading a book after 1 year.
They don't go to Barnes and Noble.
I'm sure
go to
they have a
library.
library.
No,
They
so-
have
so what
their
I-
shishas and all that. They pass it on.
Pass it on, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I've seen is when, for example, if we are going to Marasa and we are just discussing about something, and then they'll say, you know what, I have a book which you should read, and they'll just pull that some random book and give it to you. So I have collected like that few books. So
Ashish.
As you know, I'm not taking your book, okay? I've seen that since the beginning. I'm not taking your book because I will then have the responsibility. So for the next number of years, we're part of Jain convention and whatnot. Every time there's a stack of books and we don't do anything with it.
Why don't you make it digital? Don't you think by
Well,
making it
We
digital it
have it all
resolves it?
digital.
Well, I have a
This
question
one's-
on that.
This is digital?
By
yeah, it's there on
Jaina
Jaina or something.
library.
Is it?
Jain Library.
Jaini library.
with fear of that, if you don't accept a book, is there a good karma?
Rejection.
If you don't accept a book from somebody,
Well,
With
so
proper intention.
agree. I'm not saying it's a good point. The question is that if say Maharaj Sahib is giving me a book, and I'm afraid of how I'm going to dispose it, just
and tell them that.
Yeah.
well maybe I'll
Can you just paraphrase for me, Maharaj?
I will find out on disposal for sure. I'll talk to my dad and he will ask him the Maharaj Sahib. We'll find out. But my point is, by not accepting the knowledge, are we disrespecting? Was my question. But I think we
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I know we have language showcase coming up here at
Yeah.
11:15. So thank you everybody for coming this week, and no class next week, and probably no class the week after. So I hope that you have a good holidays and a happy New Year.
It's good.